Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Be the Change. I'm Keanu Rattray here again with BeComs, and today we've got some extremely great guests with us. The thing that these guys have been doing recently has been absolutely nuts. They're on their way up the ladder. Interviews with Rio Ferdinand, Brendan Rodgers, Ledley King, Jolien Lescott. Been featured in the Daily Mail, the Metro. Every newspaper under the sun. There's nothing else I can say about these guys. Budge, Dej, Dot, the Beautiful Game podcast, guys. Thank you for being on the show and welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
100%.
Thanks, bro. It's a pleasure. Obviously, I've been speaking to Leo Man a lot, and we said if there's any way we can support BComs or any of the programs, we're there. And we're more than happy to be doing this because this is something I watch weekly. I've seen the episodes with Leo Man, Karina. I've been tuning in, Clinton, Forde. So, we always support.
100%.
Well, we're very happy to have you guys on the show. And it's funny because I feel like this conversation isn't going to be like all the other conversations I've had because, obviously everybody else I've been speaking to is, it's kind of already in the industry, making the way. But you guys, are more just, you guys aren't journalists. You guys aren't media people. You're just them create a podcast and that's doing it big. That's what's going on right now. There's no other way to explain it. What's it like for you guys? Firstly, what's it like for you guys? Being on the other side. Me asking you the questions and you giving me the answers instead of being the ones that asking the questions.
Yeah, to be fair, this is something we've always wanted to do. People. It's always us interviewing our interviewees kind of thing. And this is something we want to go into more where we tell our stories. Because I think from the outside looking in, it probably looks like, where have these guys come from? They're interviewing Rio Ferdinand, Brendan Rodgers, but they don't know, the backstory, the graft. And we're 80 odd episodes in. And I think maybe a lot of people don't see that we've been grinding, man. So yeah, this is good.
And just to add to that as well, Keanu, just like you said, we're not journalists, so we have full-time jobs. We all have our normal lives that we lead. But for the passion of what we do, take out the time to research, to read up, and interview the guests that we do as well. So, like Dej said, there it is sometimes nice to share our story and what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and definitely, it's crazy because. Literally, I wake up at 7 a.m. and I start my actual job at 8 a.m. And then obviously I've got my pod to do. So literally I'm working for 15 hours a day, 9 hours at actual work. And then pod work takes another 8 to 9 hours. And that's what people don't understand is that we're passionate about this. So we're going to run through brick walls for this product. You get what I'm trying to say? And a lot of people feel that we're just, spoon-fed in terms of, these guys get great guests or it's easy for them to get great guests. But no. It's very hard. We're calling agents and they're saying, you know what, call me tomorrow, call me next week. Or why do you keep calling me? You get what I'm trying to say? So obviously you just see the product like the Brendan or the Rio, but there's so many adversities that we've had to overcome to get to this position that we're in now, and we're just thankful to everyone that tunes into the platform.
100%.
Well, yeah, you guys are a year deep now, and that's the thing. Like you said, a lot of people don't see the groundwork. You guys are about a year in. And a lot of things have changed for you in this year. Speak to where you guys were last year to where you guys are at this year.
This time last year, I think we were just about to move into our new studio. The season had finished and we sort of said to ourselves, we just started in January. We've got ground to make up. So in our new studio, let's try and get all the journalists we can. I used to play football myself. So I got one of my old managers in, journalists, friends, non-league players. And again, that's what people don't see. They probably think, they get Premier League players, managers, but we've worked our way up, non-league, League One, League Two. We had Frank Newborn, David Amu in our 12th episode. So yeah, this time last year, it was kind of very different to where we are now. But again, we work hard. We put in those yards, every lead, every contact that we can exploit. Trust us, we exploit it. And that's what you got to do in this game. Be bold, be brave and courageous.
And there's there's some times where we're hitting a potential like interviewee in 4 different angles. So they're just phoning one contact, I'm phoning the other contact, and you're just like bombarding each contact. And sometimes it's not going to come to anything. But just to go back to what Dej was saying is that, like, what people need to understand is that, like that summer, so this time last year shaped the podcast, and we saw that like everyone stopped producing content. Everyone in our community stopped producing content, and we were like, you know what? We got time to plan, prepare. People at home. So let's try and do something a bit different and get, you know, interviews. Let's get insight within the game and bring that to our platform. And I think, as Dej said, it started from getting people from non-league and getting journalists. And I just want to shout out a few, because people like Miguel Delaney, Rob Harris, Jack Pitt-Brook,
Adrian Kajumba,
they traveled all the way to the other side of London to come to the studio. And those are the things that we will never forget on this journey.
100%.
I was even speaking to Adrian Kajumba the other day, and, you know, I told him that, listen, you're one of the cornerstones of this project. Without you, we probably won't be where we are. You know, he invested time into us. We messaged him on Twitter, and man was giving us paragraphs full of advice, saying, do this, do that. And that really shaped this journey, if I'm being honest.
And a key thing as well to add to that is part of one of the, I'd say maybe the USPs of our product is that we try to get football from multiple angles. So we don't want to just speak to current players or ex-players. We want to know about the journeys of loads of people from loads of different takes. So we speak to chairmen of clubs, coaches, aspiring journalists in the game, just so we can have as rich a perspective and as rounded a perspective as possible. And touching a bit on what Dot mentioned about, you know, the guests that we've had on and so on and so forth. You know, we produce these episodes and we have these great guests, but that's only a fraction of the people that we contact. So you see all of the people that have said yes, but for all the people that have said yes, we've got 5 people that have said no. There's been countless emails that we've sent and not had responses for, times that we've called people left, right, and centre trying to get people on the platform, and haven't been successful. But you know, we haven't let that deter us. We have a clear goal and objective, and continue to move in that direction.
What's one thing from all of you that, you know, you could, if you look again, looking back to last year, what's one major thing that you all have learned, you know, from where you were, where you began to where you're at now?
I think the most important thing would be find your USP. And I think over the past few months, we've noticed that we're the USP, us, the 3 of us. And people are buying into us, no one else. They like what we're doing, so they buy into it. And I think that's one of the key things you've got to figure out. Why are you actually doing this? If you're doing it to make money, then it's not going to work. Find the passion and then just execute it and go for it. Nothing's going to stop you now. Now is the best time to create change.
One thing for me will be use your contacts. I used to play football. You know, I know a lot of footballers. I've been reaching out to them, asking that for advice. Can you come onto the pod? And, you know, they've supported. Friends that I've grown up with, social media influencers. I've asked them for advice. They help. Managers that used to coach me, you know, ask them for advice and help. So never be too shy to ask for assistance. And before, I was the sort of person that was saying, you know what, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to keep it to myself. But doing this project has actually made me open up and put myself in uncomfortable positions, and it's paying dividend. So like, use your contacts.
And for me, I think there's been loads of different lessons that I've learned, but one that stood out immediately when you asked that question, Keanu, was the importance of being agile. So you always have plans and a certain way that you want things to go and expect things to go, but you know, it doesn't always work out like that. And obviously Mike Tyson has that famous quote that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. and how important it is for you to sometimes take stock of where you're at and realign your goals and objectives and sometimes move with the circumstance and situation. And I think it's very important that you are agile and, we're all very collaborative. We're constantly speaking to each other and trying to find ways for us to improve. Okay, what about this? Can we touch this up a little bit? And the key word that Dej mentioned there was being uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to have very uncomfortable, open and honest conversations with each other. I think that really, really helps and it comes through in the quality of the products in the end.
And I think there was an oversight from all of us because we kind of see it as something that is just natural to us. But you have to be consistent because we've been going for 86 weeks. And when I say 86 weeks, that's 86 weeks in a row. Like there hasn't been a single week that we've missed content. So there's a lot of people that, now reach out to us and they say, oh, how can I improve? And how can we start our podcast? And I say the main thing is get the content in the bag and release consistently. Pick a day so people are used to seeing your content on a specific day and release it on that day every single week.
And I think that's the best thing about, advice. That's some great advice for people who are trying to create a podcast or trying to create content is a matter of being consistent, knowing that you're going to have to sacrifice a certain amount of time if you want this product to grow. And I think that's something that you guys have executed to a T. And the thing is, the best thing about it is you guys aren't even done yet. You're still going. Where did you guys begin? Where did you guys start to know each other from? And how did this idea of a podcast come about?
I actually met Dot in secondary school, so year 7. So we both went to St. Thomas the Apostle in Peckham. And we sort of met in the foyer. I remember it was like 3:30, school was finished. And I think we were both by ourselves. And I just opened conversation. I was, oh, what team do you support? And he's like, Liverpool. And I was like, yeah, my guy. Then we nudged each other. So that's where the friendship was. That's where the friendship was born. And we've been friends for like 16 years. Every day we speak on the phone about football. And it's like, this project has been 16 years in the making. Unknowingly, we've been preparing ourselves for this. We'll always speak about football, speak about journalists, learn about the ecosystem of football. And I think that's really helped us in this project.
No, definitely. And I think another thing is that, as Des said, you don't know where your friendships are going to take you. And you need to understand that, be careful, letting people in your friendship circle, if you're not going to trust them later on in the line. And the thing is about this project is I can say anything to Dej or Budge and they're going to accept it, vice versa. And I think that's important because you need to hold each other accountable for things, innit? Because there's so many times we have disagreements, but we don't let that seep into any of our episodes. But just to go back to the path of how we started, it's funny because when we started, it was podcast was the new thing. Obviously, 3 shots got signed, the receipts got signed, so everyone, let's make a pod. But it wasn't even that, we actually just started on SoundCloud. We just started and said, you know what? We like this idea. But the one stumbling block we had was me and Dej didn't have a host. And we're very particular with how we wanted things to run. And one of the shows that we really liked for their concept was the Sunday Supplement. So there was a host conducting the conversation and then you have guests bouncing off with each other. So we're like, you know what? We're going to start this project, but before we release an episode, we're going to find a host. So me and Dej went back and forth. Dej was like, nah, I don't like that one. Nah, he ain't got the voice. Nah, we can't do it. Nah. So then I was actually going to work one morning, actually, and I bumped into Budge. And the thing is about Budge, when Budge talks, the whole train has to hear that voice. So me and Budge would just be talking about football on the commute to work. Then I was like, Budge, you're the man. I forgot about you. You are the man to come and host this platform. So then Budge was like, yeah, I'm on it. And I'm like, okay, cool, you're on it. So then I reached out to Budge and then Budge is taking me I wouldn't say seriously, but he's like, yeah, I'm on it, but I'm not sure if there's going to be actions to the words, innit? So to cut a long story short, we started over Skype, and Wood, you can take it from there, man.
And honestly, the rest is history. So we started that first episode, and to be honest, we laugh about it now because I think all of us are scared to go back and re-listen to that first episode for fear of what it might sound like in terms of how we've developed in terms of our presenting styles, in the way that we respond to certain questions and the topics that we cover as well. And along their way, there has been a lot of ups and downs and bumps in the road, particularly with regard to the quality of our sound. And that is something that we regard as a non-negotiable. So we do whatever we can to try and produce the best. I think it's also important to note that, like we said already, like this is outside of our normal jobs, right? We don't have like, we everything that we've done and produced has been through trial and error and learning along the way, right? So the hours that Dot's talking about is putting content together, is going through, making sure that editing's done and so on and so forth. Whilst we're recording episodes, he's the one that's recording them. So he's got to give his input and ask certain questions whilst making sure he's tracking how the volume's working and so on and so forth. So it's like, it's just been an adventure and a journey, to say the least, man. But, recently we had this conversation, like, did we ever think that we'd be here in a year on from starting? And honestly, none of us could say that we ever had thought that it would get to where it's got to so far. And the scary thing is that we're only getting started, It's only a year in. This is something that we see as a long-term platform and something that we're prepared to invest in for the long haul, man. So it's going to be interesting when we look back in, say, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, and we look at the development and the progress of the platform then.
And I did mention, some of the guests that you guys have had on, obviously, I guess one of the most notably being, Reified. And that was when you guys started really getting some quotes, in these national newspapers. What was that reaction like for you guys, knowing that, you're doing a podcast and then it releases and the next morning you're seeing like these major newspapers and social medias tweeting things that has been said from your platform?
We knew that one was going to be massive. Like, to be honest, we were totally unprepared. That week was crazy. The messages, the calls, even like companies saying, you know what, we want to have a Zoom call. We believe in this product. We want to take it forward. It was manic. And obviously, as you mentioned, we had a lot of quotes written in the paper. Obviously, it's overwhelming when you see the work you produce on your platform being respected by creditable, journalists and stuff. So yeah, like, again, we never expected this to happen. But again, in life, you have to pivot accordingly and you have to take your chance. And that's what we're doing. We're seeing it as a long-term sustainable project. And after the Rio one, people are calling and say, boys, where do you go from here? You've got Rio Ferdinand on. Then listen, we give you Eze, we give you Shelby, we give you Brendan. And it's going to keep going like that because we believe in this project. And again, our mindsets, we have growth mindsets. We read, we educate ourselves. So yeah, man, like that Rio week was crazy.
No, just to add to what Dej said there, I often, coming, of course, from an African household and a Black community, I often measure my success by the excitement levels of my mum and my family members. So when you've done something that your mum's really proud of, she shouts it from the rooftops and she's calling all the family members and so on and so forth. So like when you graduate from uni, the whole world's got to know about it, right? Mm-hmm. And that Rio Ferdinand episode in particular was another case in point because she told everybody, she was taking screenshots of the pictures and whatnot and sending it in all her group chats. And I had aunties and uncles that I hadn't spoken to in ages contacting me and stuff. And so that's how that was one measure that I used to gauge just how big it was by that. And obviously it's always a great feeling to know that you're doing your family and loved ones proud. So long may it continue.
No, and just to add to that, I just want to go back a bit because there was an episode that we had with Mick Bill, who's the first team coach at Rangers. Obviously, he's previously been at Chelsea, Liverpool, and gone to Brazil to do coaching. And I think when I speak to a lot of my friends and I ask them, what was the moment where you thought this product was serious? And a lot of them point to that episode because towards the end of that episode, we were like, oh, Mick, like, we don't want to take too much of your time. And he was like, no, boys, I'm loving this. I want to stay on. Let's do it for a bit longer. And I think that's when people said, you know what? These boys, they're doing good things. And that episode absolutely blew up. And it was in all the papers. And that's one that goes under the radar. But that's one of our proudest like episodes today because he's been great to us and he's been like a mentor from afar.
The things you guys have done this year, you know, like some could say in terms of just getting up and doing it, you guys are the perfect example right now. You know, just being able to put the time in, put the energy in, and the results will come. What do you guys say to that?
I think that's why it's important. I understand what Budge said earlier about, you know, building, you know, your audio quality, but I don't want to lose that message that just start. Even if your sound is not great at the beginning, start. Because there's so many people that are waiting for the perfect opportunity. And unless you make things happen, you're never going to get that perfect opportunity. Because people will be like, I want to start, but I need a mic. Or I ain't got a professional camera. No. Use your laptop. Just use your phone camera. Just start. You get what I'm trying to say? And I think that's an important message. You got to get up and get it. Like, you can't wait for things to come to you. And I think that's why Dej is good, because sometimes I don't want to call a contact. But Dej will be like, Dot, this guy's ready. I can feel it in my heart and my head. Go and call him. And that's how a lot of our episodes have come to prominence.
Yeah, there was one recent episode that we done with a massive name. Obviously, we share contacts, a majority of our contacts. And I was like, you know what? Dot, message him. He's ready. He wants to do it. Then lo and behold, 3-4 days later, the person was on the podcast. And again, that sums up our relationship. We banter. We're jokers. Like, it's jovial. We have fun. We don't take it too seriously, but we're just enjoying the ride. But again, talking about the community, like, it's mad because we're community-driven people. And obviously, we grew up in South London. Like, around school ages, you know, I was doing extracurricular activities. I'm not going to lie, I didn't, you know, I was a bit of a rebel, so to speak. And throughout this project, in the last week or two, there's been some friends that I haven't spoken to in like 10 years. And like one in particular sent a voice note. It was like, Dej, I don't want you to save my number. I just want you to know I'm proud of you. You're doing the whole community proud. And it was at that moment where I said, you know what? This is bigger than ourselves. You know, we're serving a community here and we need to do them proud. And we need to make sure this product in the next few years, you know, it's at the top of the table, and we believe in that. When we speak every day, we say, you know what, we're great. We're sick at what we do. And we've got that innate belief that this product is heading to, you know, some dizzy heights.
And I'm proud
100%.
of Dej. I'm proud of Dej. Sorry, Budge, I know you want to go, but I'm proud of Dej because I always tell him, like, out of everyone in this product, it's him that I'm the most proud of, because he's not someone that puts his face in front of a camera. I'll tell you that for free. I'll tell you that for free. He's very withdrawn, but the growth in him as a human over the past year, I've never seen him in a better place mentally, and I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of you, Dej.
Safe, bro, man.
100%. And just to tie into you know, a bit about what both Dot and Dej mentioned earlier on, Dot was talking about consistency being a really, really key thing. And I think when you understand that your purpose is so much greater than just your product and the three of us, and you understand that the purpose is so much more, it gives you the drive to be consistent.
But you guys, you know, mentioned, you know, using your contacts, you know, networking. I always want you guys to key in on why networking is so important, because, you know, and you guys did mention, you know, you was at the BeCom's launch event for the diversification of the sports media program last year. You know, why has networking been so important for you guys? And why is it important for everybody else to do?
Because when you network, you build trust. And there's so many people that we've spoken to or we've tried to reach out to before meeting them. You don't get a response. But then you go to an event and you bump into them and they change their perspective of you. And that's what the human element, face-to-face element does to people. And I think, like, we haven't mentioned BComs in this journey, but like, this is probably the best platform in sports media. And I mean that because the support they've given us from day one has been absolutely superb. And from the bottom of our heart, like, without BComs, we're not going to be where we are today. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people say your network is your net worth. And that's for real, if we're being honest. Like, we've managed to go to several different events, and that's an underrated part of our journey. I remember during the weeks, 7 p.m. after work, travel down in the cold, going to like Mail Online events,
Raining.
Andy Cole events, raining, and we're having like one umbrella amongst the three of us, going to like a yard shop at 11 o'clock. But this is all been part of the journey, and like meeting these people face to face, attracting like-minded people to yourselves, people seeing you, the visibility. If you ask anyone, they'll say, the beautiful game, they get about. So again, our main thing is our content, but we believe if you listen to our content, you'll be drawn in and think, you know what, I want a part of that. And that's all down to networking, in my opinion.
100%. We even coined the term TBG Boys on the Road again, because that was literally like our life. Like, after work, we're going to this event, we're doing that, we're traveling here and putting in the hard graft, getting home at like 1 o'clock in the morning,
2
sleeping
a.m.
a few hours. Yeah.
Remember when there was
honestly.
no buses? Remember we were at Lucia, we're waiting for like 30 minutes. It's been a journey, man. It's been a journey, and we're loving it. We love what we do.
Honestly, I can't recall a day this week where I've stopped working. Like, throughout the whole course of and I'm just trying to say, like, it's hard work. It's not, just produce the product and that's it. It takes care of itself. What you see on the screen is only a fraction of what we're doing off the screen, honestly. And we're just putting in tons of hours to just plan and strategize and just produce the best content possible. And we've only scratched the surface. I honestly mean that. And that's not even to sound arrogant. I just feel there's a space for us in sports media. And, there's not enough black faces, but we're going to be a platform to try and push for diversity. And we're going to get there.
I think that's the best. That answer is even great as well, because you addressed that there isn't enough black faces in the world of sports media, and I think the best thing about the podcast is people can look at you, guys who maybe don't have media degrees or who aren't journalists, but you can just be three guys from South London who created a football podcast, and you're interviewing Rio Ferdinand. Like, that is the dream, and people have to realize, you don't have to be all these things. You have to just be able to put your mind to it and just do it. And when you do that, the results will come.
110%. And when people look at it and you look in the black community, it's either you can be a footballer or entertainer. But now you're seeing more layers. You're seeing Emeka and EPG, top agents. You're seeing Fem, top agent. You're seeing, platforms like ourselves, podcasts. We want to be the face of that. So people can say, okay, you know what? If I'm not a footballer or I'm not an entertainer, I can be like TBG. I can be an agent. So it's all about us connecting those dots, working together as a community and showcasing ourselves in the best platform so people and youngsters can aspire to be like us.
All right, I've got one more question for you guys now. We're at the 3 keys. I'm going to get one piece of advice from all of you, something that you guys have realized on your journey, or something that, you just want to let the people know, whether they're building a podcast or they're just trying to get into the industry like yourselves.
We'll just kick it off. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a bit on the spot here. How do I condense this into one single point? Because I've got a load of different things that I would like to say. But I think I'm going to emphasize a point that was raised earlier by Dot, which was the importance of just starting. You don't need to spend a huge amount of money on resource or equipment. You just need to get going. If you have a passion for something, if you feel that you want to document what your thoughts and views are, and you have people around you that are like-minded that want to join in on a journey as well, don't think too much about it, man. Just go. And after you take the first step, everything else will then sort of fall in line. And again, I love my quotes. There's that quote, I believe it was from Martin Luther King Jr. when he said that, you have to sometimes go in faith, and it's about taking that first step, even though you can't see the full staircase. And I think that's a perfect example of exactly the kind of mentality that you need to have. It doesn't have to be perfect when you start. You just need to start, and then as you go along, you iterate, you improve, and you develop. And I think that's really the top of the list in terms of pieces of advice that I could give.
Yeah, my one will be passion. Is it your passion? What is your why? Because if you're not doing it for the right reasons, eventually you'll get found out. With this project, like, I jump into bed thinking about it, and I bounce up in the morning thinking about the project. I love what we're doing. I love making calls to agents. I love pitching this product to them. I love everything about this product, and I'm not going to stop until it gets to the top. So I think no passion, no point. Make sure you love what you do.
And I would say it's tough. There's so many, but I think one that's kind of underrated is see the perspective of the consumer. So we're inside the bubble, so we think, yeah, we're the best, or our podcast is good. But I think before someone comes onto your platform, they need to buy into your brand. No one's going to associate themselves with a brand that they can't buy into. So I think you've got to see that from the outside looking in, and see, okay, what can we do to make sure our brand is presented in the best way possible to engage guests to come onto the platform. So I think that will be the most important thing I can say.
Guys, those are perfect three keys. We appreciate having you on the show, Dej Dot. Thank you again. Where can people find you? Even though everybody already knows anyway, but you got to remind the people, we got to plug it. So where can people find you? What you guys got going on right now?
Yeah, we're on Twitter at podcast_TBG. We're on Instagram as well at pod_TBG. We're on YouTube as well, The Beautiful Game Podcast. And we've got some massive exclusives coming up as well. So yeah, just follow the journey. We're going to keep supporting our community. Again, there's a lot of podcasts that are doing brilliant things. We're collaborating with them. We're speaking. We're in group chats with them. So we feel this is key, because from the outside looking in, a lot of people can feel, they're competing against each other. But a lot of these podcasts, we actually speak behind the scenes. We're on the loop on what they're doing. They know what we're doing. And this is the way to grow a community, And that's what Leon Mann was saying. This is a movement, and we feel we're part of this movement. And we want to try and push this forward with the help of the other podcasts as well.
And definitely, if we don't support each other, who's going to support us? So
only makes sense.
Keep pushing each other's work, keep encouraging people, and let's all win together, because that's what it's all about.
100%. No more needs to be said on that, man. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
That's it.
Gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. I feel like I could talk to you, man, forever.
Of course, man. We got to do it again sometime, man.
Love.
Listen, we can do this again whenever you guys want. Listen, I've enjoyed this. For me personally, I just want to say a big congrats to everything that you guys have been doing. Keep putting in the work. You guys, I said at the beginning, you guys have gone clear, but the worst thing is you guys have got further to go. So keep going. We're all watching. It's been a pleasure to interview you guys. We'll see you guys again soon. This has been another
100%.
episode of Be the Change, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.